Hello friends, it's Dave here from SaveDex, bringing to you my review of Paper Mario The Origami King. This will be a spoiler-free review, so I will only show early parts of the game, but rest assured I have played it to the end, so I can now bring my thoughts to you all. Paper Mario is a series that has had its highs and lows. The first two are very highly acclaimed games, loved by fans. Super Paper Mario took the series in a new direction, with it being more 2D platformer based, but then Sticker Star came out. It completely ditched any RPG elements, made each area level based, made the combat sticker based, and it's widely regarded as the worst game in the series. I ignored Colour Splash at first because it looked to be another Sticker Star, but when I eventually played it, I did have a really good time with it. So now we come to Origami King. Let's start with what the Paper Mario games tend to do very well, and that is the story, characters and writing. The plot of the game seems simple at first. Mario and Luigi arrive at Toad Town for the Origami Festival, but things quickly take a dark turn when a very strange looking Peach arrives and sends Mario to the dungeons. You then meet Olivia, who helps you escape alongside a folded Bowser. The game's antagonist, the Origami King, reveals himself and you make your daring escape as the king raises Peach's castle into the air and plops it on top of a mountain, protected by 5 streamers that head off in different directions. As I said, simple setup. You know your end goal, and you know there are 5 things to get rid of before you go there. They basically provide you with an excuse to explore the game's world one area at a time before heading to the final battle. Where this game shines though is in the world building it does through the characters you meet, as well as your companion Olivia. I did find her annoying at first, seeing that she was constantly interrupting the gameplay and spelling everything out for you. Look, that enemy has a very obvious weak spot on the back, but Olivia still feels the need to point it out to me. The good news is, before the first chapter of the game ends, she stops feeling the need to point out the obvious to you all the time, and the game becomes a lot more enjoyable. She is a great companion once you get past the beginning, with a lot of funny dialogue, and I love how she interacts with other characters. And when you find out her backstory, where the Origami Kingdom is and how it all came to be, I thought it was a fantastic reveal. Even if some people might find it underwhelming, I really like how they presented it. The world itself is large and interconnected, dropping the separated levels of the last few Paper Mario games and bringing it back to what the first two were like. The 5 streamers need to be done in a set order though, so the story is quite linear. Going after the red streamer at first, I noticed it was wrapping around a tram that was needed to access the area for the second streamer, which puts into context why they needed to be done in that order. I always loved arriving at a new area when the game gave reasons for you to explore the whole place, needing to find items for certain characters and search around for a way forward. It really helps you get a feel for the place and feel part of the world. Okay, I think I've put this off long enough now. There is a new battle system and it is ring based. You touch an enemy on the overworld and it takes you to a turn-based battle. You stand in the centre while the enemies surround you, and it plays like a puzzle where you need to either line the enemies up or group them together in order to jump on all 4 in a row or hit a group of 4 with your hammer. You have a time limit to line them up, and it does retain the button commands of its predecessors, where pressing A at the right time lets you deal extra damage or guard yourself from enemy attacks. This game is not an RPG like the first two were. That has become a sore point for a lot of fans, as the recent games have taken the action-adventure route. So that means when it comes to fighting enemies, you don't have EXP or levelling up earned from winning those fights. All you gain are coins and confetti. Coins are used in many ways, but you'll mostly use them for buying things in the shops. You can get items like mushrooms to fill up your health, iron boots which let you jump on spiked enemies, fire flowers which can give you a projectile, and many more on top of that, as well as accessories for extra perks such as increased defense. It is a shame that there is no EXP of any kind, as it can make the overworld battles feel unnecessary. Even the reward of coins doesn't seem all that great, as I was never short of them in my entire playthrough. When I completed the game, I had around 70,000 on me. It was a problem that plagued Sticker Star and Colour Splash too, although in those two games you needed to use up stickers and cards in order to attack enemies, which just felt like a waste. Whereas in Origami King, your basic hammer and jump attacks are unlimited, so you aren't losing anything for doing these battles. I know Colour Splash lets you level up your hammer, but it never felt worth losing cards over for me. There are some enemies that you can fight on the overworld, which the game calls paper machos. These were a lot of fun to fight, and it is a shame that there wasn't more action like this. If they want it to be an action adventure, then maybe this is the way forward for battling. The good news is though, I really enjoyed the turn-based battles. I loved solving the ring puzzles. Didn't always get it right, but it was never much of an issue and the fights tended to go by fast. There were plenty of battles that were needed to do for progression, and plenty more that were hiding a secret behind them, and a lot of the time I just fought them for the hell of it. There's something satisfying about clearing an area. Powering yourself up is now done through finding big hearts that increase your health and ups your attack. When you do this, weaker enemies can be killed on the overworld instantly, which can speed things up. The battles really shine though when you face a boss. These put the boss in the centre of the arena and Mario is on the outside, and you have to rotate or slide the ring segments to create a path to the boss, picking up helpful powers along the way. I enjoyed every single one of these boss fights, they really are the highlight of the whole adventure. You will find these Vellumental battles where you face an origami creature that has elemental powers, such as earth, water or fire. Defeating this boss gives Olivia the power of that boss to use at certain points in the overworld. I'll touch on that a bit more later. The main bosses on each chapter are pieces of stationery, such as crayons, scissors or a hole punch. I really like the creativity behind how these boss fights play out and how they manage to personify these objects, but it is a shame that more often than not you see the boss for the first time as you begin the fight, so there is no real arc behind them or any way to have a feeling of rivalry with them. Although I do like how there are hints as to what you're going to be fighting in the environment leading up to them. When Olivia gains her new powers using the elements, they can be used to manipulate certain areas to help you progress. The problem I had with this is that in order to use them, you need to find a magic circle first, so the game pretty much restricts when they can be used. My favourite aspects in action-adventure games, such as Zelda, is gaining a new item or ability and revisiting older areas and using it to find hidden areas or collectibles, but that is not the case here. I felt it was a missed opportunity to not be able to use these element-based moves freely to unlock certain secrets and are just used to open the next scripted area. Another reason to use magic circles is to use the 1000-fold arms, which is used to grab and pull certain walls and manipulate things to help you progress. Again, these are restricted to where there are circles, so it's always obvious what to do. And it is really annoying that there are clearly a lot less than 1000 folds in those arms. Another thing Paper Mario was known for are the partners. Here you do get them again, but they are only temporary, and the help you get from them in battle isn't too beneficial. My main reason for loving the partners in the original games is not because of using them in battle, but because they expanded your moveset in the overworld and allowed you to access areas or grab out of reach items. This is the main thing I do miss from the earlier Paper Mario games, so it's a shame they are only there for a story purpose, but at the same time, I did really enjoy their company. Bobby was a delight. I mentioned confetti earlier. These are used to fill in holes on the overworld. Sometimes filling them will open up a path, a door, or they might just do nothing at all. But I didn't care what they gave me, all I cared about is every one of them needed filling in. Even though I'm about to be crushed here, I've got to stop to fill this one in. The map screen very nicely shows you your completion rate for every area, how many holes are filled in, toads rescued, blocks hit and treasures found. Treasures are used to fill the museum, and toads are found all over the place. Each one rescued adds an extra audience member for your battles, although some of them are required to rescue to open up certain shops in Toad Town. Graphically, this game looks fantastic. It has the familiar paper thin characters in a 3D world, but as the series progressed, they really ran away with the paper theme, making it look like a handcrafted world, and the characters themselves being aware that they are made of paper. One nice detail in this instalment is that the enemies are made of origami, folded soldiers as they are known. The series has been criticised for having the vast majority of NPCs just be toads that look the same. One thing that helps here is that the general Mario enemies, such as Goombas, Koopas and Shy Guys, who would normally be enemies you fight, can now be NPCs to interact with, since all of the enemies are folded soldiers, and it keeps things a bit more interesting, but it is a shame they didn't give them some more unique designs. Although there are a few Toad costumes I liked. The music in this game is also fantastic. I like how dark and tense the music can get at the beginning to make the tone of this game feel a lot more serious than what we are used to with Mario. Toad Town starts off with an eerie theme, but as it gets more populated it becomes more cheery. There is also a remix of Swan Lake. How much more could you want? Overall, this game is a grand adventure, taking me well over 30 hours to complete without getting 100%. It has a big, fun world you can explore, with some handy pipes creating shortcuts back to Toad Town. The lack of EXP, levelling up, or even new abilities is a downer for this sort of game, and coins are thrown at you way too often for them to feel like a decent reward. But that doesn't detract from the amount of fun I had with this game. I enjoyed it from beginning to end. I would say it's a bit on the easy side. The reason I had around 70,000 coins at the end? It's because I very rarely spent them. I never felt the need to spend them to increase my timer, get the audience to participate, and the vast majority of items I didn't use once. I did equip more powerful hammers and boots, certainly, but a lot of those extras just passed me by. Didn't use them, didn't need them, but I imagine if I had, then I'd have had an even easier time. Paper Mario The Origami King feels like it's stuck between two genres and doesn't really know what it wants to be. If it had just added EXP, then it would have been a fantastic RPG. If it had ditched the turn-based battles with random enemies and made them just for story progression, then it would have been a fantastic action adventure. But overall, it is a really great, really fun game with plenty to do and a lot of variety in the gameplay. I mean, one chapter has you sailing the seas with a sea chart exploring islands. Got a lot of Wind Waker vibes there. I shall award Paper Mario Origami King an 8 out of 10, but if they had just made one of the changes I mentioned, then it would very comfortably have secured a 9. If you're still unsure as to whether this game is for you, I'll put it into context by showing what scores I would have given the rest of the series, so you can see where my mind is at compared to yours. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, give it a like, make sure you subscribe for more videos to come, and let me know in the comments what you think of this game and where you want the series to go next. See you in the next one.